meme. But let's see what they got for us. I was fairly happy with the trailer from yesterday. Uh, so I thought I'd give a reaction to whatever we're seeing now. How many people are in here? About 2,000 people. 34, sorry, 2,300. And the chat seems to be fairly excited as well. Should be a good one. I didn't really prepare for, I knew this was coming, but I didn't really prepare for it, but I figured maybe we'll have a little chinwag about it, I suppose. See me pulling something up there now. That'll do it. Has this started and I missed it? Yeah. I hate it when it does that. It should just auto refresh. Alrighty. Show me what you got. High bar, low bar, I don't know. Mature 17. Captured on PS5 Pro. Did you ever think you'd see that? I don't particularly care for how the portal looks, but who cares? Or the slip space, but whatever. But it has all the rubber from Reach. That's kind of nice. New dialogue from Cortana. I think they already said that, in fairness. I do think the armor looks too dark, but who cares? The armor looks fine for the most part. There's parts that are a little over designed, but it's not the end of the world. It's better than CE Anniversary, I'll say that much.
It wasn't refuge. It was something ancient. Beautiful.
I was going to say these were shot in theater mode, but they can't be because of the winding angles. People were saying that they don't want the flood to be shown in the trailer. They want to experience it firsthand, which is a noble request, I would say.
Claim this place. Humanity doesn't survive.
That's not going to happen.
Looks lush. The hunters move a little differently than they did originally. Like they're much sharper.
More than your armor. More than your mission. And
The animations are nice, like for the hijacking and getting into the vehicles and stuff. The guns sound great, but they've always sounded great. The SMG looks really at home there. Doesn't seem out of place. I wish when it came to how 343 and Halo Studios handle the sounds of weapons, I wish they made the Covenant weapons less pew pew laser.
They believe they can break us. They believe the fight ends here.
Like Bungie always made them seem properly alien.
They're wrong.
Oh, that's a lovely shot. Oh, I like that. That is a thing that I like. At least they're understanding cinematography a bit better than 343 did, even though it's in essence the same company. Yeah, I don't really care for any of this. I'm not getting a statue. The skins look good. I don't know how they're necessarily going to work, but yeah, that was pretty good. What does the chat say? All W's. I mean, you have the occasional people who are sounding off saying they don't like it, and that's fine. You know, that's fair. You're invariably going to have people that are not going to be on board with whatever this is. Uh, I guess we can kind of skim through it now. We didn't get too much of the Sergeant Johnson stuff, but I'm guessing that's more so Operation Meteorite, I think it's called. There was a detail I liked. So they have all the, are they called skiffs or whatever? The Covenant ships that latch onto the Pillar of Autumn. Something I just realized is that they only ever dock onto where the escape pods leave from. It's like the Covenant know the symmetry of the ship or the interior of it. But there's a shot when the thing leaves. No, where is it? Where the escape pod leaves? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. No, I think here it is. Here it is. This is something that they didn't have in. I don't think they had it in CE Anniversary, and they didn't have it in the original either. It's when you're pulling away from the ship, you can actually see um the skiffs or the. You can even see the Covenant ships in the background and everything, but you can see the some of the skiffs there or the boarding crafts like latched onto the Pillar of Autumn. That's nice. Then you can see some more Covenant ships. So I'm guessing they're trying to show like a whole fleet here. They have, but you can see they've paid more attention to how the autumn should look. Like you have these little loading bays and stuff here, all lovely stuff. They Bungie kind of wrote them into a corner a little bit when it comes to the the elevator shaft or whatever at the end of the game, or not the elevator shaft, but like the maintenance shaft that you drive along. But it is what it is. They're probably going to make sense of it as best they can for the end of Campaign Evolved, but there's no point trying to litigate that now. The ring looks different in every time it's depicted, but there's no point splitting hairs over that. The flood is one of the few things where you can mess around with the art style and no one's going to care because it's a spreading sickness and it morphs and twists things, so it just makes sense. Well, it's not that it makes sense; it doesn't not make sense if you take liberties with the flood, so long as you don't do anything too crazy with it, I believe. You can see there's little bits that they added onto the helmet, like this little notch here, and like the undersuit stuff, but they didn't break the design. They kept it pretty simple, and most importantly, they didn't make his hands tiny like they did with CE Anniversary. See, the Pelicans look fine because it's so hard to mess up the Pelican. Just don't change the design massively. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the saying. And it is a busy design. The Pelican always looked a little bit noisy in its design, but they've only just added accents and stuff to it. The Halo 4 and 5 Pelicans are so hideous. I remember people complaining about how when we first saw the reveal of Campaign Evolved, how people didn't like the original designs for the Forerunner stuff on Silent Cartographer were more sleek and simplistic, and people didn't like how there's this desire to constantly add edges and ridges and stuff. I probably would have argued this point more 10 years ago, but it doesn't affect the gameplay, so I don't particularly care. I don't know if is there a clip with an energy sword here? Because someone had pointed out on Twitter how like the energy swords now have this kind of CRT design on them when it's supposed to be super hot plasma. Very astute point, very observant, but it doesn't affect gameplay. So you're probably going to have to, for the sake of your own health, you have to be okay with things changing for no reason now. And so long as they look decent. Uh, People were complaining about Cortana's design. I don't care how Cortana looks necessarily. The same thing with the Marines. Like the Marines in this don't look that much like the original CE, but it doesn't really matter how they look. Like I don't like how dark Master Chief's armor is, but again, it doesn't affect the gameplay. I would have liked to have seen those skins in action, or those whatever you call those cosmetics, outfits or whatever. Um, the levels look good. The levels look fine. Yeah, the cutscenes are nice. Oh, does Keys give you a special um Magnum, like his own personal one? Because it seems like just like gold crests and stuff on it. Like if you got like a commemorative Magnum, like some people do in the army. I could be wrong. Kind of a funny beat there. He holds it up and Chief's like, "All right, you're giving me an empty gun. Why would you give me an empty gun?" A very weird kind of formation here. I'm guessing the Covenant maybe drilled through the ice or something. I mean, everything's super shiny, but it's unreal. Whenever someone does an unreal thing, it's always a graphical flex, so there's no point even complaining about it. People were saying that they were using elite designs from Infinite for this. I'd easily believe it. There's as nice as this looks, there's going to be aspects of this game that OG fans are not going to be okay with. But we'll keep in mind, like this is all captured on a PS5 Pro. This game is going to be partly marketed to a new audience as well. So, and we're going into like we're closing in on 3 decades of Halo. You can't expect the same people to be playing their franchise forever. Many people who grew up with the game have kids and families now. They're probably past this. They can introduce it to their kids and stuff, but you can't really expect the same franchise. And I was naive enough to think 15 years ago or however long it was when 343 took over that the franchise would stick to its roots and stuff. And it's like asking a person to be the same person. And they're biologically the same human being, but like your tastes change, your personality changes. You shed so many skin cells that you shed enough skin cells to almost constitute an entirely different human being. So it's also when you consider how many people who have changed hands or gone through the doors at Halo Studios 343 and Bungie, how many people who worked on CE are still working on these games? I have to be careful how I say this, but I'd almost have questions for anyone who has been working on one franchise for 2.5 decades. On a personal level, I would want that person to move on to bigger and better things. Um, it's if I heard what I'm about to say 10 years ago, I would have blown a gasket. But now I'm happy saying that Halo is less of an identifiable franchise, and it's more of an idea now. And going forward, what we're going to see is just interpretations of Halo rather than anything that you can kind of hang your coat on for the franchise. So, as I understand it, the forward trajectory for the franchise is going to just be uh, the Campaign Evolved remake, the Halo 2 remake, the Halo 3 remake. Um, oh, daily streams now. Yes, chat broken. I know, I know. The overlay. I did an impromptu stream, but hi, Saren. We're definitely not doing uh, daily streams yet. But that could change. You'll be the first to know when it does change. But I didn't think this would suit your time zone. Uh, but yeah, so as I understand it, the people who leaked, I think it was Jez Corden and Reps Gaming, they were the people to break the news that a CE remake was coming, even though we all knew it was coming from the Halo Studios announcement video. The people who leaked that this was happening were the same people who said there's going to be a Halo 2 and 3 remake coming. But they also said, they said later on, I think, I could be incorrect on this, but they said that there's going to be the development of Halo 2 and Halo 3 remakes are going to be contingent on how well the CE remake does. Um, and like, if that's the case, um, let's say this is a hit. Let's just say that this turns out really well. Is this the thing we just watched? This is the thing that we just watched. Shit. Shit. Hi, Evil Royce. It's good to see you again. Operation Meteorite. Okay, okay, okay. I see. Is it so? This is a trailer for the new mission. So we're probably going to get more trailers for different aspects, but like, we're not going to get a multiplayer trailer for obvious reasons. But if we're going to do this, the chat doesn't work because I set up the stream not even like 10 minutes ago. Um, but let's say this is a hit and everybody loves this. Now everybody won't love this, but let's say it does well. And I'm so curious about how it's going to play with PlayStation fans because I don't know too many children that have a PS5. I know a bunch of aging millennials that have a PS5. I hope one day you will become biggest YouTuber. I hope I don't. I never will. I hope one day you'll become famous. Sorry, sorry. Racist country. Um, the mall looks terrific. I hope they find some way of making it look like more messed up, and it's not just like a mirror of the Pillar of Autumn level. Um, but let's so if we work on the assumption that oh, I did notice someone pointed this out on Twitter. Some of the grunts have like clots and stuff on them. I love the way their armor looks. The armor looks baller, and there's clots and stuff on top of it. I'm gonna go out and say it. I think this is probably the best that grunts have ever looked. Okay, bye. Take it easy. Take it handy. Take care. Um, no, I need a weapon. Johnson, you're a pussy ass bitch. Uh, like all the effects are glittery and oh wow, look at that flare. I don't care. But so let's say that this does really well, and then the Halo 2 remake does really well, and then the Halo 3 remake does really well. We need to start talking about Halo 3 ODST remake, right? Uh, people are the problem with this. Oh yeah, we have to talk about this scene a little bit. But people were saying when it comes to the better, the more people like how this looks, the more upset they are that there's no multiplayer. Saren, you asked me yesterday. I missed it as I wrapped up the stream, but you asked if I'm playing this, where am I going to be playing it on? I'll probably get a Series S. But I'm not gonna get a Series S just for this, by the way. I want to play GTA 6. I want to get Fable. I want to play the Doom Dark Ages DLC. I've played Doom the Dark Ages on xCloud on my Xbone, and as far as xCloud goes, it was actually fairly good. There really wasn't any latency there. I played Microsoft Flight Simulator on xCloud, and it was laggy as hell. But that's a game where lag isn't going to diminish the experience too much. If there was lag on Doom, The Dark Ages with xCloud, I probably would have broken my Xbox in a rage. But I like the shoulder here on Johnson. But the better this looks, the more upset people will be that there's no multiplayer because this looks fun to play. There's a lovely sandbox of weapons. Uh, the nicer the campaign looks, the more people think, wow, what's the multiplayer going to be like? And obviously, there is no multiplayer in this. None. But co-op exists. So I'm curious if we're going to play as Johnson. I guess probably not. It's going to be Chief. Um, but the reason I think people pointed this thing out is because that's a surprise stream, D-Man. I got to go to work now. I'm going to wrap this up quick enough as well. How long have I been streaming for? 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe we'll go up to 30. Impromptu streams aren't overly popular, so if I found a thing to stream about every day, maybe we'd do it. But also, like, my roommates are a bit noisy and very invasive and nosy. They're noisy and nosy. I do like these hunter designs. They fuck. They fuck hard. I don't like how some of the Covenant ships look on the outside, like the Truth and Reconciliation and the one that you fly along. We'll get to that in a few minutes. It's coming up here. Um, yeah, like I don't like the way this ship looks, but it's not worth fighting over. It's probably gonna be a one and done design, right? The Seraph looks different, but fine. It actually kind of makes sense because of how it bends. Like it has these rivets or like these fins that'll bend and contort the ship. That's really nice. That seems like a very ergonomic or like a very engineering influenced design change for the Seraph, so I do like that. I also did not think we would ever get these kinds of levels back. Uh, and that wasn't leaked. A lot of this was leaked. The space missions were not leaked at all. And you're flying through debris and everything. Oh my goodness gracious. Um, but yeah, so if you did a remake of ODST, people probably wouldn't be as bent out of shape over there being no multiplayer because ODST didn't really have much of a multiplayer. It was just firefight. And then, if ODST was a hit, are we going to talk about a Halo Reach remake? The thing is, right, because Halo Reach was, canonically before CE, you end Halo Reach with that shot of the Pillar of Autumn flying towards Installation 04. And it made people think about, well, what would CE look like with Reach's graphics? And then we logically went to CE Anniversary. And it was probably the best place for 343 to take over because rather than going right in with Halo 4, they're starting off with something that we all know. So a safe place, which was just reimagining the existing game. So if you don't like CE Anniversary, it doesn't diminish the legacy of the original. If you don't like CE Anniversary, just play the original. If you don't like Campaign Evolved, just play the original. And I had reservations about how, like, that's what I'm talking about with the sword. There's like this weird kind of CRT design on it. I mean, it was the first thing that stood out to me when I saw the Halo Studios announcement video, but like, fucking, who cares? Like, I do care, but I'm also just really fatigued from this discourse, so whatever. Um, what else is there to say? Yeah, so we're going to do ODST, and because, because we know what we know now about the universe and like or the Halo universe and where things come from, like, is it releasing on Switch too? Probably not, but Nintendo are doing a direct tomorrow, so you never know. I don't know if a Switch would be able to run this. A Switch 2 even. Like Nintendo aren't known for making particularly impressive consoles in terms of their specs, but from what I saw of the Switch 2 specs, it's probably the most powerful console they've ever put out by orders of magnitude. Like this the I think the Switch and the Switch OLED could like barely keep up with 1080p and 1080i. The Switch 2, I think could maybe do like 1440p. Um, but it's not going to do 2K and stuff. And I think maybe when you put it to a screen, maybe it can do 2K or something. I think you would have a stroke handling this. But look, it does Doom, right? Is Doom the Dark Ages on Switch too? No, Doom the Dark Ages is only on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. I don't. Oh god. I when I saw the reveal for the Switch 2, I don't know if I watched it on stream or not, but when I watched the reveal for the Switch 2, I was impressed with its features more than its titles. But from what I gather, like it's a bit of a ankle grab. Like there's not too many titles for it out right that's out for it right now. Same with the PlayStation. Like we made jokes about the PlayStation 5 not having titles, and now it has an Xbox title. You know. Um. I mean, we talked about Johnson wearing the Project Orion armor, which is a nice touch. The gun that he's using reminds me of something that is in Rejected Shotgun's Huge Grass mod. It's like a sniper rifle that has, it's like a kinetic rifle or something where it fires off like a railgun round, but it looks like a sniper rifle. If I had the mod installed, I would pull it up now on stream. Uh, yeah, lovely environments. I mean, you could argue, does it look like Halo? It looks alien enough. People were complaining about the needle rifle redesign. I don't care too much. Like, it's more sleek and stuff. It's probably one of the less invasive redesigns that they've done. I think they can't not redesign something whenever they make a new game, but at least they're more respectful of the source material this time, I would say. Oh yeah, so sorry, we never even talked about this. So because so many of the species in the series have been redesigned over the years, I, some lore was written, I think, a few years ago about why the species changed. Like in reality, it was just the art. It was 343 redesigning the elites, the grunts, the jackals, and because Campaign Evolved is supposed to be like a return to form. It's the first game under Halo Studios, or like since the rebranding. I think they're trying to weave in some kind of lore reason why the elites, the jackals and stuff look different. I know I'm late, but I love to take that not expecting Halo to change because new people are there. I love to take the expecting Halo not change because new people are there. Um, we should welcome subtle change. Yeah. Well, see, thing is, if you were to do the Halo political spectrum, left leaning being, you know, pro 343 and right leaning being like pro Bungie, I would have skewed more right leaning. You phrased it wrong. Sorry. Don't worry. You're fine. You're fine. But I would. So I'm a Bungie purist because I grew up with the original trilogy, and when we started moving away from the mark during the 343 games, I was vocally dissatisfied with it. And it's like anything else where I realized I was wasting a lot of my energy on having those kinds of conversations. and I'm fatigued from it. I can see a lot of people are running in circles and having the same kind of discussions on it, and I've come closer to the center on it. And depending on the types of conversations you're having, I'll probably go to bat for 343 and Halo Studios. I think we were very unfair on Halo 4. Um, Halo 4 has, like, I don't think Halo 4 is a good Halo game, but I like the multiplayer. The campaign is good on its own, but it's lacking in comparison. For multiplayer, change was not welcome for me. Look at CS practicality unchanged over decades, just as popular. Well, you know better than anyone, Saren, that we're not. You're not going to get a lot of disagreement from me over CS because I don't have any reference for it. Um, but you very seldom see these kind of conversations in other games. You know, I mean, I love the new Doom games, but I never played the original one, so I'm not even sure what the discussion of old Doom over new Doom looks like. But just to wrap up what we're looking at here, people believe that this scene here, or this section of the stage, is supposedly some kind of, not retcon necessarily, but some kind of writing of the phenotype changes, or why some of the species change between the games. If I'm being honest with you, you don't really need to do it. Um, it was just 343 adapting the same species in a different way. You don't need to, like, I was vocally upset about how elites, brutes, jackals, whatever, how they changed, but like their appearance, there's no stage in the story where their appearance, like where their jaw sits or where their eyes sit, that there was no point in the story that was changed by that, so I don't necessarily lose sleep over it. It's fine. It's literally fine. I would have been mad about this years ago, but I don't care now. The Prophet looks cool. I mean, obviously, it's like a Prophet that's been written in recently. We won't have heard of this guy prior, but uh, yeah, the Prophet looks good. Johnson looks good. The Brute looks good. I prefer the Bungie games as well, but I didn't grow up on them, so I don't really have attachment. That makes sense. Yeah, you're gonna live longer as a result of that. LK Psi D4. If you're not latching your emotions to the legacy of a game, you'll be happier for it. I've wasted a whole bunch of time and energy crying over, make Halo great again or bring Bungie back, and it's such a waste of time. And I think the thing that sobered me up to that was obviously just getting older, but also seeing friends of mine work in the games industry, and ha- I don't have any friends that like have gone into work for Halo Studios or 343, but can you imagine, a friend of yours going into work at McDonald's or something? It wasn't didn't they have a meal called the McRib or something years and years ago? And they took the McRib off the menu and everyone got mad. Can you imagine a friend of yours that, went into work at McDonald's right after they took the McRib off, and then a bunch of people start like trashing the place or like flipping their shit because the McRib is no longer um, an item that you can order? That's not your friend's fault. Your friend came in at a very shitty time, and now they're catching flack for decisions made by the brass. So there was a lot of I don't know if you remember, but there was a thing on Twitter a few years ago, around the time Infinite dropped or before it dropped, saying hashtag fire 343. And I think it was when things started to leak about the state of affairs or the leadership at 343. And pe- people were like looking up the employees on LinkedIn and hassling them on LinkedIn, which is very out of pocket. And while I am like a Bungie purist, I'll always play those games more. That completely made me step back from the Bungie side of the discourse. It made me want to stand with the Pro 343 people more, because you can't be hassling developers like that. They could make Master Chief making, I don't know, they could make him a total pussy bitch who cries all day, and takes off his helmet and has like pink hair and whatever. They could they could massacre the franchise as much as they want, but I would never stand by hassling um, the developers. It's wrong. I can and I sympathize. I thought that Fire 343 thing was insane. And you know what the messed up thing is? The guy spearheading that I think was the Halo Evolved guy, who's like a die-hard Bungie guy. He likes me, and I've argued with him a bunch, but like I don't necessarily hate him, but like because I'm a Bungie purist, I think he thinks that I like him. And there was a period on Twitter where there was like insane arguing happening, and I remember I don't know if it was CRISPR Storm and someone else, but oh no, it was Sacred Icon. Sacred Icon were like the most charitable people to 343 Industries, and I wanted to moderate a debate, like a tag team debate between Sacred Icon and like CRISPR Storm versus Halo Evolved and the Bring Halo Back guy. I think his handle is POPT2 or something on Twitter. And I contacted all four of them, and only Halo Evolved got back, and he said, "Yeah, I'd be up for that." And it's crazy because like I'm a Bungie purist, but I disagree with all the points of Halo. Like, I didn't disagree with what Halo Evolved was saying. But I disagreed with how he was saying them, because he was asserting that people in 343 shouldn't be working in game design. Period. I don't agree with that. Maybe they could just work on another series or something. But it was crazy to me that the Bungie guys wanted to have the discussion and the 343 people didn't. The moral of the story: stay off Twitter. Haha, nothing good comes from that platform. Yep, fair, fair. But the reason I'm on Twitter is one for work. Like I've gotten some of my Blender commissions through Twitter, so I like to stay on there to for work, but also to stay engaged with what people are saying. Because Sacred Icon, when they were doing their podcast, they would come out and say that there's been universal praise for the 343 games and that they're just universally more liked. But if you go on Twitter, or if you go into the comment sections, if you go on Reddit, if you go on the Discord, you'll see that people, well, not for the Discord is heavily policed, but you'll see like people are have been fairly unhappy with the 343 games. And I don't know if I don't want to make Halo my main shake on this channel. It's just you're going to go through dry spells, and when you go through dry spells of like daily Halo content, you're going to start grasping at straws, and it's just lethargic stuff. I'm only doing this stream now because we're in a little bit of a rich period for information. Like next month now, Campaign Evolved will be out, and I'm as much as I like what we're seeing here, I'm really torn if I want to get it or not. Like some people were saying in the stream, I don't know if you saw when I was doing the live reaction, but like some people are getting a whole new PC for this. I would get this on my PC, but I think my graphics card is a little bit out of date. Like I got Spider-Man 2 when they ported it to PC, the Insomniac one, and I had to run it on like dog water graphics just to so my computer wouldn't have a stroke. I couldn't even stream it. I couldn't even run OBS just to capture game footage. It was insane. So it's looking like I won't be able to run this on my PC. Also, my PC is fairly full. Like I had to uninstall a ton of like half of MCC, and I don't want to uninstall Infinite yet. Uh, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times more. This render of Master Chief looks like a photo rather than a 3D thing. I don't like how dark the armor is. I probably said that enough. But also, like, this is releasing on Game Pass on day one, so I might not have to lose too much money if I get a Series S. Because secondhand, they're like 150, I think. I don't know if Doom's DLC will go on Day Pass or Game Pass. I would love it if it did. Uh, okay, so I think we've kind of covered everything there. We're 40 minutes in. Um, what else could or should we cover? The music sounds nice. I haven't seen many people saying it, but I guess people would want Marty O'Donnell to come back, which for reasons that shouldn't need to be elaborated on, I don't think Marty would be coming back. Is Marty going to Halo Fest actually? Because they're doing a Halo Fest this year, aren't they? I was going to go to it, but I think like it's gonna be like a funeral. I don't think Marty was invited to Halo Fest. I mean, obviously Steve Downs and Jen Taylor will be there. If Marty O'Donnell is going, please correct me, because I don't want to assume that he's not going to be there because of X, Y, and Z. Um, Sorry. Um, I kind of like the aesthetic of the game. It's not perfect, but better than 7 months ago. Like it's a fun interpretation to use art style, and I'm not too upset. Yep.
This place, more of a freak show. And
Also, I found out yesterday that that's not actually David Scully voicing Johnson. David Scully has retired from voice acting, so they got someone to do like a pretty good. Um, the guy they got to replace, and it's only for the Operation Meteorite stuff. I'm sure maybe they have some unused voice lines as well. Same with, well, Jen Taylor's still around, it's still working, but um, I don't know what this is. Maybe this is just maybe it's warped because of the glass or something, probably. But yeah, the new voice for Johnson sounds all right. It kind of looks more like H2A than CE, but it's fine. Yeah, I, 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 I I wasn't able to put my finger on it, but you're right. I was thinking that it looks like another game, like another Halo game, but I'm not sure which one. It does look like H2A, very much
Have
so.
you enjoyed your stay so far, Demon?
sorry to interrupt, but we're on the clock. The thing with simple jobs is they always get complicated.
Yeah, it does look a lot like H2A.
Playing
And you know what? For all the things that were questionable about MCC or H2A, I think the consensus was pretty popular about, or pretty, the consensus was pretty good about H2A. The only thing I didn't really like was the pre-rendered cutscenes in it.
odds get worse. My advice, bring a Spartan.
The one thing that's kind of weird to me is that so this is the Operation Meteorite is going to be like the prequel to CE. It's and there's three bonus missions, and I think the three missions take place before CE starts. I would like two missions before CE and one after CE, or one mission before CE and two after, because I feel like a lot of the Operation Meteorite stuff is going to be like uh there might be references to Fall of Reach, which is cool, but I would um I would like something for First Strike, you know, since that book kind of connects Halo 1 to Halo 2. I'm sure they'll probably have some kind of epilogue or extended ending in this because they're going to be doing the Halo 2 remake after this. Uh, Reps or Jez Corden did mention that they are working on a multiplayer game in the background. They haven't announced it yet, but um, it seems for now, and they haven't even announced the Halo 2 or 3 remakes, but what else are you going to think when this is what the studio is flocking in on? And apparently, it's not even like the studio entirely working on this. They're outsourcing to a bunch of other stuff. And this is why I'm talking about Halo being an idea more than an IP. where they're probably just going to fish out development to other studios to work on it, and then they'll just publish it or whatever. Um, the thing I wanted to talk about the armor here because this armor is obviously inspired by in principle, like this armor comes from the Halo Legends the package, which is an aesthetic that they've been holding on to for years. It's the first time we saw like the 117 printed on the chest, which we've seen I think in Infinite, we've seen it in Forward Unto Dawn. But the thing is, the helmet it looks more like the Mark 6 than the Mark 5. So Chief is going to be wearing this kind of Mark 6 looking helmet, then go to the Mark 5, and then after Campaign Evolve, he's going to go back to another Mark 6 looking helmet. But the body armor is great. It's like the Halo Wars inspired stuff, which is very fitting. It's like this, the whole meteorite armor feels like a love letter to the fans, and they finally scrubbed off the 117. I was getting a little bit fed up of seeing that, if I'm being completely honest. One of the things I liked about the original Halo 2 is its aesthetic reminded me of Ghost in the Shell, and that was kind of the lost in translation in H2A, but I still thought it looked good. I've never heard someone say that before. That's interesting. I never watched Ghost in the Shell. I played some of the PS1 game, but I never actually watched it. But I'd like to. Um, I won't watch the live action version until I watch the anime first, but Ghost in the Shell is one of those pure old school animes. This kind of reminds me of Halo 2 a little bit. But maybe I'm thinking of H2A. Uh, I noticed that not a lot of people are complaining about sprint anymore. And I don't have a dog in the race of the sprint debate, but what I will say is that whenever people give out about sprint, it's only when it first appears in like a gameplay or trailer reveal, and then people usually move on quickly after that. That's just something that I've noticed. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the chat thing. Oh, okay. Um, like, do you remember when they did the gameplay reveal for Infinite? And there was live reactions of people watching. It was like I forget what section it was, but it was like Chief. It was after the Pelican crash lands on Zeta Halo, and Chief looks around, he loads his assault rifle, and then he starts sprinting, and people were like, "Oh no, he's sprinting! Oh no!" But soon afterwards, people just stopped caring. People just forgot about it, and people will say, people would argue against the point. Oh, if you don't like it, then just don't sprint. When it comes to multiplayer, unless sprint is turned off, people get weeded out very quickly, and people understandably get annoyed when they're in an enemy encounter in multiplayer and someone kind of sprints to get away from it. I can see why that's annoying. But like people people were begging for Sprint to not be in a CE remake because obviously Sprint wasn't a part of CE. You should not have expected Sprint to be absent from Infinite. Sorry, but that game was the most recent like installment in terms of like the narrative and stuff. Sprint was always going to be an Infinite. I could see why they wouldn't have Sprint in this, and I can certainly see why Sprint is in it. Because CE Anniversary was just like a one for one remake. In terms of like the gameplay, this is a remake. And I think the question that is an understandable question for devs to ask is, what would Halo be like if it was made today? CE Anniversary was like, what would Halo look like if it was made today? This is how Halo would play like if it was made today. I'm indifferent to Sprint. I don't think we need it, but it's been here since 4, so it's alright. It's been here since Reach. It's been here since before Halo 4, so when people complain about 343 adding Sprint, Bungie did it first. The difference is that 343 made Sprint an ability in like they made it like a base ability and not something that you could swap out with a jetpack or a bubble shield or whatever. In my opinion, like if you're whatever your opinion is on Sprint, you're right. I'm never going to be the one defending it or attacking it. I don't care enough about it as an ability.
Now you ready to get to it? You serve long enough, you learn to read a battlefield. This place, read a battlefield. This place,
Bit of some graphical weirdness there in the reflection of the lake along here.
this place,
Whatever. I mean, I'm looking for things to complain about. For the most part, this looks cool.
I know, freaky.
Have you enjoyed your stay so far, demon?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're on the clock.
Interesting that the brute is attacking everyone else here. Are we going to see like some? Is this going to set up some great schism stuff for the Halo 2 remake?
The thing with simple jobs is,
And it's interesting that people are saying they're using infinite designed elites and stuff because that's not what they're doing with the grunts or the jackals, and definitely not with the brutes. If this is being developed back to back to back with the Halo 2 and 3 remakes, because apparently those are early in development, are they going to have like a consistent visual language between all three?
they always get complicated.
Uh, Halo 2 has never been my favorite one. It's probably my least favorite of the original trilogy, but it is fun to play. Halo 2 has I think maybe the best story maybe, but I don't like playing Halo 2 that much. But I would if this is good, if this is good, I would probably get the Halo 2 remake. And Halo 3 is my favorite, so I want to get Halo 3. Right, other people can have those debates. I just don't feel strongly one way or the other. And fun fact, Sprint was a cut feature from Halo 2. That's true. That and there was like I think there was like a thing where you could like flip the bird or something with both hands. Um, I think there was like a Hornet or a Falcon that was cut from Halo 2 as well. You can play it on MCC with the mods and stuff.
Plans change. Odds get
But the thing is, like, I'm not saying you're doing this, but people generally don't. If you were arguing for like Sprint and stuff, you can't really bring in that it was in Halo 2 because people just say, well, it was cut for a reason. It was probably too premature to do it. I don't remember a Sprint before COD doing it like around Modern Warfare. I'm sure it was probably in games before that, but I think if they brought in Sprint in Halo 2, it would have been too early. I'm curious, like, if Sprint was added in Halo 2, what would people have said? Because whenever there's a polling on the best multiplayer game or the best Halo multiplayer, I'm pretty sure Halo 2 Classic still ranks as the best among fans. And I don't like Halo 2 multiplayer. Granted, I'm just not good. Like, it's a skill issue with me. I don't enjoy it that much. I don't like the way everything looks. Like, people were saying that Halo 3 became too Power Ranger looking with the Spartans and stuff. I think all that's great. I love how the maps look in Halo 3 and stuff. It's why I make content in it regularly enough, same with Reach. And Reach is very grimy and gritty by comparison, but I think 3 and Reach have the visual language down the best. I think Halo 2, the multiplayer, the Spartans, the most of the levels look fairly ugly, even upscaled for MCC. Uh, but uh, yeah, I think Sprint would have been brought in too early if they brought it in with Halo 2. But it's hailed as the best multiplayer. My favorite multiplayer, I think, is Halo 2 Anniversary. Um, I never thought I would be into a Halo game that didn't have sprint and stuff, especially like because H2A was like it's kind of like this. Like, what would Halo 2 look like if it came out? Halo 2 multiplayer look like if it came out in 2014, and because there's a lot of newer things in Halo 2 Anniversary that weren't in the base game. It's why they didn't just throw a new lick of paint on it, like with the customizable armors and stuff. Um, Halo 2 Anniversary feels good to play, and I'm decent at it. I'm not the best player, but I'm decent at it. It feels accessible to new people. I think people get weeded out with the likes of Infinite or Halo 4 and 5 because they're so, or even Reach, Halo 3 a little bit, but there's so many bells and whistles between abilities and mechanics and stuff that there's like a, how should you say, there's like a, oh, is it like the ground floor or something, or there's a phrase for how accessible it is to new people coming in Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer. Doesn't feel as intimidating. Halo 3 has also been my favorite. Yeah. Halo 3 is just my favorite Halo game, but in terms of multiplayer, H2A beats Halo 3 by just a small margin. If Bridge was introduced in Halo 2, it would have been broken the multiplayer in half. Probably, yeah. It would have been a weird time to introduce it. I don't know if these designs for the hunters are from a different game. I know that they had different color hunters in ODST, and I don't remember what color they were. And they had like hunter generals, I think, in Infinite. H2A's multiplayer feels perfect in terms of multiplayer. It does, yeah. It makes me wish that they had made more maps for it.
My advice: bring a Spartan.
I said it yesterday, but I'm very happy that we're gonna probably see more of Foehammer. If I play this, I already have the Fanta skin unlocked, so it'll be very fun to do all this dressed as a. I'm guessing the skins don't apply to the Operation Meteorite armor.
This this one you haven't heard.
Crazy how they still don't have a million subscribers. I guess nor do I. Uh, where's the announcement? This is such an odd and feels random to compare these two prequel missions. Look like the dead ringer of classic marathon. It's awesome. Yeah, sure. I'm so this is like the perspective from one of the Falcons or one of the Pelicans while you're deep beneath the cartographer or deep beneath the island, right? Uh, like the way the colors pop just tickles my brain. Yeah, it's vibrant, but tone is such an important thing, you know,
The ring has some.
especially when it comes to like covenant structures and stuff. People were complaining about the Forerunner structures, how they're too sleek and shiny and stuff. Um, and there's a lot of over designing going on. Sure, I don't disagree, but I'm also certain that I couldn't do it better myself. I know you're seeing like some slight aesthetic choices, like there's more concentric circles and stuff on the ring, but I don't care. This guy, that is an Infinite design for sure. I think that's one of the bosses. There's a boss who looks just like him in Infinite. Um, I mean, I think the demo for Camp or Combat Evolved back in 2001 was Silent Cartographer, so this was a good way of revealing it. Some people are just, some people live and die by the design of the vehicles. I don't so much, but it looks good. I see. I kind of like the design of design of the Warthog in 4. So, like, I like how 343 designed the Warthogs. It's like the only thing I like about those games. Although I like most of the armor for Infinite though. Helio Scroll was a nice addition in 5.
The Covenant are putting up a real fight. The cartographer must be here.
Pew pew.
Lock and load, rock and roll!
Give them hell, Chief.
I'm just comparing it to what we've already seen.
Let's go find.
I hope we don't get too much nonsense about like, oh, this is your objective, go do the thing. I don't like when games treat me like a toddler. That should be an option you can turn on and off. My only complaint about Silent Cartographer is that I wish that the sky was a deeper blue. That feels so nitpicky. Yeah.
That will show us the location of Halo's control center.
Now the Warthog can do 4 people now, right?
I've been able to pinpoint the main facility by cross-referencing Covenant survey data and religious texts.
But is it 4 Spartans or 4? Can you have 4 Marines there as well? The way that the assault rifle sitting on its back is kind of weird. Like it's pointing straight up. To me, it just makes more sense if it's slung diagonally. But the colors look right here. You're right. I don't know if they made the island bigger or smaller because they did say that some areas have changed in size to accommodate for gameplay stuff. The Warthog sounds good. Yo, this is a good example because I think they wanted to have more ways for the player to get the Warthog out here because you had to wiggle the controller a little bit to get around here. I wonder if how much they've made changes to the inside of the building because so many people would have brought the Warthog down into the building.
They're already inside. We have to get in there and
One of the things I'm most excited about is watching people like Garish Goblin play this because he is way more angry about the direction that 343 and Halo Studios is going in. And he's just been mouthing off about it. Like he doesn't even want to watch the reveal videos and stuff. So I'd be interested in hearing his two takes because he's like the world champion when it comes to CE speedruns. So I really want to hear his take. Or I want to see him play it. Hey, it's Commando. David Scully is voicing Johnson again. It's just been around 15 years since he last voiced Johnson. His voice might have changed because he's good. He's credited. He's credited, but he has retired from voice acting. Like people are saying that it's not him. If for the new stuff. If they're using his existing audio from Campaign Evolved, then he's going to be credited. I wonder if there's more avenues to Because I think the best way to get through the doors before they close them was to like run the warthog through. That's what Garish Goblin would do on his runs. But I wonder if there's the doorway looks a little bit more narrow, but I could be wrong on it.
Interesting. I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo's subsystems. We need to find the security override to get this door open. Cortana to keys.
Go ahead, Cortana. Have you found the control center?
Negative, Captain. The Covenant have impeded our progress. We can't proceed unless we can disable this installation's security system.
Understood. We're still en route to the objective. I may be out of contact when we get there. Here are your orders. I want you to use any means necessary to force your way into the facility and find Halo's control center. Good luck, people. Keys out.
Let's move down the beach. Keep an eye out for any unusual structures that could house the security
I'm excited to watch my little cousin play this because I grew up in a PlayStation household, so it'll be cool to see the new generation play Halo for the first time. Yeah, I don't know how much of the new generation will actually play this. Still, I'm not going to buy the game anyway. Give it a year after release to see how well it goes. Let the reviews decide what they think about it. From the way you say it, it makes it sound like you were waiting for the reviews to decide how you think about it. I'm not going to be doing like the early access nonsense. Um, the game like unless there's like bugs and stuff that they fix. Um, unless there's bugs and stuff that have to be fixed, like the game that releases is going to be the same game in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in a year's time. I would like to play it when it comes out. Infinite is the only game in the series that I got on release. Every other game I got like a few years after they came out. Oh, the little engine sound is cute. Um, I'm just gonna see what else we can really talk about.
PlayStation, it'll for the first focus on capturing the original game for every technology we've built and how we can tie that back into this experience. So in this game, up to you can play two of the spaces. Hogs, now you can bring everyone with.
Oh yeah, because I don't want to fall for it like I did with Halo, since I did 2012 for Halo 4, Halo 5, and for Halo Infinite. That led to a decade of disappointments. Yeah, but Commando, no offense, but you get very passionate about really small things with very little information. I think maybe just like decide how you feel about it first, and if it's a game you're interested in getting, then get it. But don't really listen to the noise, because you have to keep in mind that there are people who have a vested interest in wanting the game to succeed, and there's people who have a vested interest in wanting the game to fail. We talked about it earlier on the stream. There's people whose entire content is tearing 343 and Halo Studios limb from limb and not giving them an inch of praise even when they do something objectively good. And then there's channels that want to glaze them left, right, and center and not hold them accountable for any slip ups that they make. So the important thing is for you to figure that out for yourself and not wait for, because you're going to see thumbnails saying Halo goes woke or rest in peace Halo. You need to like figure out what you think about yourself, because so many people get their minds captured by that kind of content.
Fidelity. How do all these things kind of come to life?
That comes across through the way they look, the way they sound, the effects, the actual panels on the weapons themselves, the ammo counters.
With Unreal, the fully dynamic lighting within Lumen allows us to get those effects, right? That rich plasma lighting up and brightening the environments.
Of course, one of the hallmark elements of Halo CE is what becomes kind of a three-way battle with the introduction of the Flood.
Specifically from the Flood.
They're holding back on showing the flood, which is kind of a cool choice. I was trying to find the bits where you could see multiple guys on the Warthog, like 4 guys on the Warthog.
That's a really exciting time game. The ultimate love letter to the game that started it all. I would call upon our entire Halo community to welcome with open arms this next generation for the first time.
Why doesn't he have a weapon in that cutscene? Unless it's on his back or something. I just generally don't trust 343 Halo Studios, and I don't care about left right as BS about Halo. I only care about how Halo was mismanaged by 343 for decades. It's not even about trust. Like, why should it be about trust? I don't. I When I think of it, a games company, I don't care about trust. It's just a fucking video game. Like, it's not the cure to cancer. Um, like when I'm playing a game, I don't generally think about if I trust the company or not. I just think about, does this look fun to play? Okay, I'll play it. You know, you're investing so much of your emotion in a fictional franchise. It's how Star Wars fans go bald in their 20s because they get so upset about the direction of the studio when you can just care about other things. And I love this franchise, don't get me wrong, but like part of growing up is learning to care about better things. Sorry. So it's not worth getting mad about. This is like, I'm going to end this stream and then I'm going to get on with my day. Oh, I thought the turret had come off or something. It'd be cool if like the warthog got blown up, that the turret could fall off and then you can like use it as one of those mobile turrets. Because I don't think we've seen any mobile turrets in this game yet. It's funny seeing the arms flailing when they do like the sprint animation. It's fine. I just don't want to take any chances. But what chances are you taking? You play the game or you don't. Like, it's not like you're taking a shot of whiskey before driving. It's just a game. The muzzle heating up is a nice touch as well. I think this area is a good example of. I think they even said it in like when they announced it or did like a playthrough thing. Um, you can see that there's not as much finagling needed with the Warthog to fit it through this area. So I think this is a good example of them clearing the pathway of rocks and stuff and making it wider to accommodate the Warthog. But I don't know. It's probably a hot take, but for me, part of the fun was knowing the Warthog shouldn't come up here and wiggling it around the rocks to make it fit up here. If that makes sense. I can You can probably tell that there's a very strong desire to not have the Magnum be as insanely overpowered as it was, but you would be doing a disservice to the original by not keeping that intact. The lighting is good. I think it's when they do the 3 remake that people are going to have to be really stern on how good the lighting is, because three's lighting holds up really well even today. And I'm not an expert on Unreal Engine, so like I'm not into fancy lens flare and whatnot. That's kind of where I'm at. I think most of the Star Wars is just disappointing, but I can just invest my time in other things that I enjoy. Well, also, I'm not a Star Wars fan, and I don't mean that to say I don't like Star Wars. Star Wars is cool, but I never really got into it. Like, I watched the prequels as a kid because those movies were made for kids. Um, I still haven't watched Andor or any of the Disney Plus stuff, but from what I hear, Andor is objectively brilliant. So I want to get to that at some stage. I just don't want to watch it on my own because I generally like, a good example of over design is all the mechanics of that door. In the first game, there was like 3 shutters and the door would open. There's like 20 shutters here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Like, you probably don't need to over design the door that much. Um, but yeah, you think of Star Wars as just disappointing. I don't care. Like, it is disappointing, but
Look, that should open the
you
door
can
back
give
into the
time to
room.
other things. And it's why I don't lose sleep over these kind of discussions, because people will split hairs about, oh, well, the shoulder doesn't look like this, and then it doesn't keep in with the lore of this. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? When it comes to things like Johnson wearing the Project Orion armor, you can see that a very strong effort is being made to like respect tangential parts of the lore.
Chief, Bravo 22 was bringing us some heavy weapons. After I saw we were up against hunters, I thought you could use them.
Yeah, because I was talking about bringing the Warthog down, cool, down below the island and stuff. And okay, I'm glad they put this bit in here because that fall would normally kill you unless you hug the cliff. And I don't think that's necessarily a speedrunning strat, but there's a strat for uh, assault on the control room where you can survive dropping to the very bottom of the first bridge. And I'm curious about, not worried, but I'm curious if all that stuff will be kept in, because even though it's not um, a remaster, I think you should keep all the trickery and stuff that made the first one fun to play, both for casuals like me and for speedrunners. The door does look busy. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just you can see in places where artists were just trying to find something to do. And it's difficult to hire an art team and then ask them to not do their job. That's the other part of it. Like I said it earlier on, but when it comes to movies or video games and they do a new installment, it seems like very often the philosophy is, oh, let's just get all the stuff from the previous thing and then just add more of the thing. Because you can't just have everything look exactly the same. It's then the art team is just getting money for doing nothing. The hunters have this thing, so when you aggro them or when they come close to you, in the original CE they would swing really slowly, but it would hurt. Um, the way they attack you in this seems to be more in line with 5, where they swing really quickly. Um, I would have kept it slow mo, but whatever. It makes it like if you get killed by a hunter in CE in the original, it makes it feel like it's your fault. But if they're within, not even within melee distance, and they swing at light speed, it can feel a little bit unfair. But I'm not a game design person, so maybe it makes more sense for them to swing faster. Oh, now he has the assault rifle. Oh wait, did he put it on his back? Okay, fine, whatever, whatever. I can't wait to do this cutscene in the silliest, in my Fanta skin. It'll look so stupid. Um, where's the announcement video for Halo Studios? There we go. 1 mil views. We've already reacted to this, so I just want to look at the bits in of the new engine. See if things have changed much. Like, if they're going to continue on with this Foundry thing, I want to hear more about it. I don't want this to be some kind of concept that they abandon in 2 or 3 years when they decide to go in a different direction again. Um, I hope people bring it up at Halo Fest. Also, the Series S has less graphical specs than the Series X, right? Like, this doesn't look like any particular part of CE. I mean, it looks like the second level, but the geometry of it looks a little different. This could have been just a vertical slice that they threw together. This looks beautiful. But Reach show proved to us that, like, even though the games are called Halo, you don't need to have every single installment on the ring. And I would like for them to be able to push past the ring. I want them to push past Master Chief, and we know that's the case because of the Rookie and Noble Six, even the Arbiter. It was like an artistic showcase. I wouldn't say a graphic showcase, but that's for better people to discuss. Ah, so they did take the 117 off it. The armor looks fairly identical otherwise, but I'm glad someone came in and said, scratch that shit off. And you know what? It would become awkward. Once you have four players in there, are you going to give them the different, like, serial numbers for the four members of Blue Team? Probably not. Or would you hold on to the numbers for the different skins? Probably not.
So once Project Foundry had been relocated to Pacific Northwest, which is sort of something old, something new, and something really alien.
When I was younger, I didn't really care for concept art that much. Now I live for concept art now and how they realize it.
We were trying to shove as much foliage in there as humanly possible to make it really feel like you're on a hike in the, Cascades.
The Cold Lands, which was the second biome that we took on, it was more of a technical.
I don't really care for snow levels that much, but in the right lighting, god damn, like with that orangey glow against the blue, I've never seen this franchise adapted that way. And the way, like, the light caustics or whatever hit off the ice, oh my god. And then running it between two different times a day, really important stuff. Infinite never figured out the day night cycle thing. It's like Infinite had two times of day. It had day and then dusk/morning, and that was it. Like this, holy crap! And having the ring be like slightly out of focus, having a planet there, scale. That whoever was making these had a good idea about how to understand scale. I think that was a big thing in the original trilogy.
On the surface, it might just look all like snow, but how many
Like, I don't really care for the discussion about a graphical showcase, but when I was talking about how Infinite 5 and 4 can be kind of intimidating, even Reach can be intimidating for new players because you have to learn weapons, abilities, and sprint. You already talk about the dance, how the dance is like the relationship between map, player, and I guess vehicles or the sandbox or something. I forget what it was. When it comes to level design, I don't necessarily think about I want to have a fight here. I usually think about I want to explore here, but look, something got in the way. And it's an interesting enemy in an interesting place. That's how I interpret it, but I would be vastly underqualified to work here.
layers of things combine to
But it's funny how your relationship to a location changes when something enters the frame and moves. And it's good for adding scale again because you can get inside a Banshee as a Spartan, you have a good idea about how big the Banshee is in relation to the cliff or the structure when it flies close to it. Even though we've explored things like these before.
really give that winter look.
And then our third biome was the Blightlands, which is
I think I'm one of the I don't like this music track at all, but I never cared for the Flood much as an enemy. But it's like I don't care for what's the word I would say, Cronenberg style body horror stuff. But I can see that it's equally as important to the DNA of the series as anything else.
any land that's been completely taken over by the flood.
I wanted to give our team the opportunity to really express an alien
In
world,
the shadow of the 4 and 5 helmet.
a really alien world, taking
Or it
something
looms
way
behind him.
further than they may have actually done,
The little tornado. I don't know if you can see it, but the little tornado is cute.
way further than they may have actually done in previous Halo
I mean, it's not unlike 3
games.
or some of 2. And it's interesting to see the same environment just with in flood flavor.
Is how beautiful everything looks, how
I mean, I learn about game design or 3D modeling just by seeing, you have this structure, there's one ridge behind it, there's one mountain behind that, and then you have the ring.
Look, I don't think we've seen anything quite like it in
I
Unreal
can't
Engine
paint, but it makes
They
me
have a
think about how you would go around
really
composing
outdated
paintings and stuff.
look and the feel, and I think there's a lot of hunger to really collaborate to move forward together.
Foundry was an initiative that touched on every part of the creative process, everything from concept art.
Are those the I don't know if you can see on the far right of the frame, but it looks like the chief and Locke armor, like the outfits from the
Say,
five
they recently
promotion, the five
experimented with
Guardians
large-scale
promotion.
effects, characters, vehicles, and weapons to make future games of Halo.
Creating an asset, taking this design. Now
I
that
mean,
we've
this looks
really
great up
digged into
close.
material foundations, what is it actually made of? How's it physically accurate onto the world? Now we get to take all the
Yeah, I
wonderful
can see why people weren't on board with the sword.
legacy assets
I
that
mean, I'm not going to fight on
we
it, but
have, bring them to life, and bring them to today's standards.
this is the interesting. So whatever this founder thing was to start, someone probably just put a bunch of assets together and made like a diorama, like kind of like what I do with the RB Bowl posters. And then it's why I think Chief's animation at the end looks so stiff, because it wasn't meant to be an animation. Like the sword is animated as a static object, but that wasn't meant to be an animation. I don't think. I think they just wanted to show what could be done in Unity, because they said I think at the start that the plan there wasn't. I don't think they said that there wasn't a plan to go into Unity, but someone was probably messing around and brought it to the brass to say, "What do you think of this?" Because, or maybe they asked someone to research Unreal Engine for the series.
Talent as the projects that we're working on kind of get further and further into their development cycles.
It's going to be crazy seeing that 117 be scratched from almost all the branding when that's so much of Infinite's merch had that.
It is great to be part of a team that's growing because you can kind of see that force multiplied as people come in and take on challenges, and you can do more.
Imagine a place where you have the commitment that this is what we want to do, Halo games, and create those
So do we
experiences
like Pierre Hinsey or not? Because
and express.
he came over to head like the gameplay division or whatever after basically fixing MCC for the most part, and now apparently people are not happy with him anymore.
Ambitions in that place.
It's a nice shirt.
It feels like a new beginning for the studio in a lot of ways, and I think that's pretty rare.
And I think we are
I'm kind of obsessed with that diorama
In a lot of ways,
that they have there,
rare.
and just how they run it through different lighting and stuff.
now at the point where
Saren, I'm glad Saren's not in the stream now because he used to give me grief about not going into game design. I like 3D design now, but I don't think I could ever go into game design,
to stop believing
especially when you consider just how much of a toxic area it can be. One of the greatest reasons I know that I shouldn't work for these people, not that they're not nice people, is because I wouldn't want to be hearing about Halo every day. I would want to talk and do anything else.
The stories that we're going after.
The potential at Halo right now is huge.
Yeah, so very clearly it was like some kind of diorama that was animated at the end.
Halo Infinite was
Some people have probably been. I think Grunt.api was able to get like look through directories and stuff, but there's probably things you can see here if you look closely enough. I'm not gonna bother.
was the last
Like I'm
of how we made
interested, but I'm not that interested.
that was our recipe. And what
Also, I
we
wouldn't know what I'm
found
looking
was
for.
the recipe.
This animation at the end with the logo is kind of nice as well. And apparently, it's like a reference to what the original logo looked like when they were brainstorming back in like 1999 or 2000. Like when the game was still called Monkey Nuts or Blam. Okie dokie. We're coming up on like an hour and a half, which is like an entire hour over what I thought we would be doing. Um, if you're still plugging away and watching, thank you. Uh, I don't know if they have another trailer scheduled, not that I can see. I mean, they might upload more stuff before launch, they might not. I would expect some stuff around the week of launch and maybe an extra push for the early access, but I'm not gonna bother tuning in. Um, this was a very long-winded, rambly, irrelevant reaction to the was it the cinematic story trailer for Campaign Evolved. Curious, somewhat optimistic. Um, I really want to do one of these community play dates, or attend one of them. But anyway, that's all it is. It's Derelict. We're back at the same time next Sunday. We're going to be doing the Insanity Marathon for Halo 2. So swing by if that interests you. Also, we're definitely 100% going to put my life on the line. We're going to finish Save the Seagulls, Save the Gulls, because that was supposed to be done yesterday. Didn't get it done. So, oh my goodness. Look at the time. We're out of here. Bye, 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 bye.